Hello everyone and welcome to the second part of this very special Patches episode. This episode is going to be about what my personal life was like in 2013 and the reason I started Patches. Let's just start at the very beginning of this year, January, when I was diagnosed with a anxiety disorder. And an anxiety disorder basically means it can vary per person, but it basically means you get very anxious at very random things and you can have panic attacks for no reason at all. And it's not something like I'm not completely going crazy, and it's not something to take too serious, but back then at that time it was very depressing because I would just sit at home or be going somewhere and just randomly get an anxiety attack without knowing why, without knowing how I could stop it, how I could influence it. And I've had this in the past, and it would come up and then it would go away again, and it would come up again and it would go away again, and it all went its own way. But in January I just started noticing that it wouldn't really go away again, and this really sucked. I could always cooperate with it very well. It usually came up in the winter. I react very heavily to a lack of sunlight. So I'm really a winter depression kind of person. And right now it's going quite well for, the bad months. But yeah, I've worked really hard on it. And since January I just started working on the anxiety disorder and see a shrink. I think it's called a shrink. And just better my life. I was really really unhealthy back in January, and especially like in November, December, I lived my life the exact way I shouldn't. I was completely addicted to watching series on my computer. I was addicted to eating the worst stuff possible, and I was especially addicted to not moving my fat ass anywhere. So I started getting, quite fat, really unhealthy, just, quite destroying my body, and this all also took its toll on my mental state. So yeah, like I said, anxiety disorder, and I just started feeling quite crappy. And over the course of January and February, this really turned out, well, one of the worst times I've ever felt. I got some sort of a depression. The anxiety kept getting worse and worse, and I started feeling, it's called derealization and depersonalization, where you just don't feel in sync and in contact with who you are anymore. And yeah, that was quite difficult to deal with. But yeah, I just tried my best, well, like I said, especially over the course of January and February, this was really sucky. But then, well, around March I started doing better things again. But to stay on the right place in the timeline, better things happened in February as well. Because State of Negation released their first EP, and this just felt fucking amazing. Even though I was really depressed and I was really anxious, and I literally had like panic attacks while going to my own release party, that night was fucking brilliant. Seriously, the moment I walked in, because outside was quite stupid, but when I got to the place where the release party was held, outside I had another panic attack, and I was like, dude, no fucking way I'm going on that stage tonight. I'm just gonna go home and just figure something out, do it without me, but I'm not going. Which was, at that time for me it was the only logical decision, because I was shaking and I was like, what the fuck is going on? But eventually, I got pulled inside, and everyone there was like, dude, we're gonna pull you through this, and just do whatever you need to do, and you can go whenever you want to go, but just give it a try. And it was fucking amazing. Seriously, it helped. And I know that a lot of people have anxiety disorders. It's like one of the main mental issues people have these days. So just to anyone, I can imagine some of my subscribers also having anxiety disorders. Just make people pull you along. This is probably the best advice I can give at this moment. just make people get you involved in stuff again. Because the only times I really felt actually good in that time was when people would just pull me along and just go like, dude, fuck your anxiety disorder, you're just gonna come with us and do this or that, or you're just gonna go on that stage, or you're just gonna come along to that concert. And yeah, it was one of the few things that really helped me. But back to March, like I said, around March I started bettering my life a little bit. First of all, I started just eating, well, above average, like really healthy. I almost became a vegetarian, but then eventually decided like, no, this is fucking gay. But I just started eating normal stuff again. A lot of fruit, a lot of vegetables, stuff like that. Just basically things to make my body normal again. And I started working out. And back then it was just, running around the block and doing push-ups and stuff like that. But I also started a photo report on like, how did my body look back then? And I took a picture and I decided like, I'm just going to work out as hard as let me put it the way it is. Not as hard as I can, but just I was going to work out on a very normal schedule. And I wasn't going to take an extreme diet or anything. I was just going to eat normally again. And I just wanted to see what changes my body would experience through eating, just doing normal stuff, So it wasn't anything like a gigantic change in 1 year, or what I don't know, steroids can do to your body, or what stopping alcohol can do to your body. No, just very basic stuff, going from a bad habit to a normal habit. And I started taking pictures about once, twice every week. And this started to really help me pull through this anxiety stuff. And back then I didn't have a job, I didn't have an education, so really everything I did in my own house was the only thing I actually did to contribute to my life. Nothing was influencing me, well, other than the band, of course, which, like I said, really pulled me through a lot of stuff. But really the only productive things I was doing other than that was just the stuff I would do in here. And it was back then, around halfway through March, by the end of March, that I decided I need to do something else. I need to do something that actually contributes to the world, other than to myself. And that's when Patches Metal was born in my head. It was around the same time that I started being an administrator on a couple of Facebook pages. I think I started out with Motherfokers, the folk metal page, and I just picked up some other pages, and this was really awesome, because this was also one of those things where, people would say like, dude, you make awesome posts, or when you would post like an admin pic, like your face being like, hey guys, this is me. There would be reactions like, "Whoa, dude, you look amazing," or "You look so metal," or "Your beard is awesome," because back then I still had the beard, or "Your hair is awesome," because back then I still had long hair. And these normal compliments to normal people would be like, "All right, thanks." But back then you need to realize that I didn't have anything of a social life. I was just sitting at home. Like I said, I didn't have a job. I didn't have an education, so the only times I would step out of my door was to either get drunk or go to a band rehearsal, and both things didn't really give me any pleasure at that time anymore. So yeah, not meeting any new people and not really having anything going in my life, suddenly hearing things like that really changed me around. It really made me realize, like, fucking hell, people actually, like me. So my admin tag on these pages was Patches, because someone a while ago asked me, like, how would you describe the music you like most? And the only thing I could come up with was just basically anything that goes along with wearing a patch jacket. And I know it sounds really stupid, but it just coincidentally works like this in my mind. That just anything that goes along with wearing a patch jacket is usually the stuff I like. thrash metal, heavy metal, power metal, some of the death metal stuff. Well, okay, black metal is the only exception to this, but really everything that has patches, most bands that have patches are mostly bands the genre that I like, let's put it that way. So yeah, I figured like, alright, so patches is my stuff, patches are the things I like, let's call myself Patches. So yeah, like I said, around the end of March, the whole idea of starting this YouTube channel was born in my head as well, and in April I just said, fuck it, let's go for it. I was still sat at home, I had already had the idea in my head for about 2 or 3 weeks, and I just decided, let's give it a shot, so I sent a message to some people I know, dude, are you alright with me promoting your EP? They're like, of course we're fucking alright with you promoting our EP, which was also something that, like, in my mind felt awesome, that people were like, dude, yeah, that would be awesome, about just some idea I had in my mind. So yeah, the whole YouTube channel was born, and I had this microphone, and I had my normal webcam, so I really had everything I needed, and I just turned everything on. I got this program, the Sony Vegas Pro, from a very good friend of mine, Stephen Horga. I seriously pronounce his name wrong every time. He's from Romania, so they have weird names there. But yeah, I'll put a link to his YouTube channel somewhere here, because he was the person that really got me filming properly. He was like, dude, use this program, and dude, you should do this, and this is helpful, and do that and stuff. So yeah, the first episode of Patches Metal was born. Spartan, Guardians of Time, and Angel Witch. And this was actually the well, of course, the first episode, but also the one I worked most on. I put all these special effects in it, and explosions and stuff, and a lot of editing, and using like 10 different pictures to show the band, and using all the clips and putting music under talking bits, which is quite funny, since these days I'm just filming, and if I have the rights, I put some music in it. If I don't have the rights, I'm just not gonna put music in it. And it's not because I'm too lazy or anything, but these days I just figured that the simpler the better. I mean, I think the only reason people actually watch this channel is because you A, want to hear me talk, or B, want to hear about new bands. And well, A, I'm just going to talk, so I don't really need to put any music under that, and B, I will tell everyone about new bands, and you can just as easily look it up. So yeah, I figured, I'm just gonna keep it simple, but like I said, back then I wanted to put everything in it. And the second episode, Purest of Pain, and some other bands, don't really remember it, but at least Purest of Pain was in there. Oh, and Saratan, by the way, Saratan was also in there. I also put so much fucking editing into that. The first like 20 seconds of that episode have just about as many editing stuff in it as this entire video is probably going to have. But yeah, it just felt right. I had some things back to spend my time on again. And actually, literally half of the videos I've ever filmed were done in April and March this year. Half of them are from those 2 months, and the other half is from everything that followed. I mean April and May, by the way, not April and March. But yeah, the views and the likes and the comments on those videos in the first 1 or 2 weeks just exploded. It was fucking insane, and I started getting like comments from people from Canada, from America, from various parts of Europe, just almost anywhere around the world. People were watching my videos, and if already some comment like, dude, you look cool on an admin page, felt good to me, just imagine how that felt to me. It was seriously mind-blowing, and Patches was just about the coolest thing I had ever started, probably in my entire life. So yeah, just, reading comments from people, seeing people press like, seeing people subscribe to my channel, made me want to go on with this. And it even, like, influenced my choice on what I wanted to become in the future. I've partially chosen this education I'm doing right now because of Patches. You know, just thinking like I really love doing stuff like this, promoting stuff, reviewing stuff, looking at the quality of stuff, but also informing people about things. It just feels good, you know, especially hearing people say it was actually useful to them. Like on those first episodes that I read people say, dude, Spartan is awesome and I'm definitely going to buy this CD. I just started emailing like all the guys from Spartan, like, dude, fucking look at this, I got you one fan. They were like, alright man, but to me it felt fucking magical. And really, I have to be honest, this never really went away. Still, if I post a video about just about anything and people post a comment like, dude, I agree with you, or dude, your views on this or that are cool, or whatever, or just anything, anything positive, it's just some sort of a magical feeling. So kind of all of that put together just went its way. I came up with some new things with the Patches Rants, with the Patches Education, which somewhat failed, but I'm really trying, or at least I'm planning on picking that up again some point in 2014, but right now with my lack of time it's quite difficult to, you know, read into so much stuff and double check everything, because really when I filmed the education episodes I had to double check it like 50 times to see if I didn't make any errors, to see if it was all historically correct and stuff like that, which really isn't the stuff I have time for these days anymore. But yeah, you know, all that stuff went well. And around July, August, I really got rid of well, maybe 90% of the disorder stuff. You know, my depression was gone. The depersonalization, derealization stuff was mostly gone. I still had some anxiety attacks, but you know, I've already learned that I have to cooperate with that. And actually, from around August, when I started my education, I haven't really had any proper anxiety attacks anymore. Ever. So around July, August, a lot of things came on my path, came into my life. First of all, I finally found the education I was going to follow. I found a job around, I think it was start of July, somewhere, not sure, somewhere in July. Well, the education of course started around August, September, somewhere there. Just all in all, things started looking better, but also started looking worse time-wise. I had no fucking time left anymore. And I think, let me see, because I have the overview here. Around July and August, I still was able to film some things. Then September, some things. And you know, from October, November, December, I started being a slacking cunt. And well, I think everyone by now knows the reasons, and I hope everyone, you know, respects it, or at least understands it. But it's something, well, in my opinion, it kind of sucked in the way that I really love filming for Patches. Yeah, it doesn't feel right to have no time at all for it anymore, and I'm really trying my best to still make time free for it. But yeah, you know, for the time being, it was just I was just trying to figure out any moment for me to be able to film, and I'm really going to try to combine it with my school, which would be really fucking awesome. If like for school projects I could do stuff for Patches, but we're just gonna have to see about that. So the last really notable thing that happened to me personally this year was the recording of the new album for State of Negation, and it took some time, it took some proper effort, but it turned out to be really awesome, and we're all really proud of it. So yeah, that was just about the last thing that really happened being very notable. Now that's it for part 2 of this episode. In part 3 I'm going to talk about very specific things. Things I want to say to you guys on the personal kind of note. And yeah, I'll put a link right over here. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, I'll put a link right over somewhere here. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but it's probably going to be in the description as well. So just check them all out. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.